Alright, hello everybody. It is May 23rd, 2021, and it is time for another weekly reading wrap up. I did read quite a bit this week, but they all sucked. Okay, that's maybe a little bit of an over exaggeration because really only, it started to get better at the end, but overall, not a great reading week in terms of quality, just only in quantity. So let's just start off with The Asterisk War, Encounter with a Fiery Princess #1 by Miyazaki. This is a Japanese light novel, which means it looks like a manga on the front, and it does have some illustrations in it, if I can find one that is even, there we go, that's good, that's even remotely, it's even kind of appropriate, but it's mostly in text, and this follows a boy who is starting this new magical school, and he meets this one princess, and it's very, very tropey, very typical. I can see where this would make a good anime or manga, and I think it actually is both as well, but as a light novel, it is just not good. It's poorly written. It's just it sucks, and it might be that I'm not super used to light novels. This is the first one I've ever read, but it's not very good, and so I think I gave it 2 or 3 stars. I can't remember which. It's just very tropey and unoriginal, pretty much. So there's that. Then I read something that is objectively great, and that is The Great Short Works of Leo Tolstoy by Leo Tolstoy. This has the death of Ivan Ilyich, the Cossacks, the Family Happiness, the Devil, the Kreutzer Sonata, Master and Man, Father Sergius, Haji Murad, and Aloysia the Pot. And this is just a collection of novellas and 1 or 2 short stories by Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian author. I read War and Peace last year. I've read a couple of these before. I've read Ivan Ilyich and the Kreutzer Sonata, and I believe Master and Man. Master and Man remains my favorite Tolstoy thing ever. Master and Man is a little novella about this guy who ends up tries to go through, it's like blizzarding, and he has to go somewhere to make a business deal, and him and a lower class man end up going, and they get lost 7,000 times. And I'm not going to spoil the end, but it is a very, very good novella. This Tolstoy just takes me forever to finish, and I do think that I found something how to kind of read Tolstoy while appreciating it, and not just it sucking up all my time, where every time I finished a novella, I would read a different book, and so that way I could kind of appreciate Tolstoy a little bit more. But, as with any collection, I enjoyed some more than others. Like I said, I really enjoyed Master of Man. That one was fantastic. I liked The Devil. I liked Family Happiness. Haji Murad and Father Sergius were kind of meh. Ivan Ilyich is a classic, but so it was half and half on stories that I really enjoyed. So I think I ended up giving it 3 stars because it's a collection. Those are always rough. Then I read The Coach Approach to School Leadership by Jessica Johnson, Shira Leibowitz, and Kathy Perret. This is a dumb little instructional book for school principals. I'm not a school principal. I don't know why I got this. I don't know why I read this, but now I have read this. And that's really all I have to say on the matter. I think I gave it 3 stars. Then I read a young adult book that is Skin and Bones by Sherri, Shahan. This is a young adult eating disorder book with one notable kind of difference from a lot of eating disorder books, in that the main character is male. He is a male. He has anorexia. And it is following him and other people who are in the eating disorder unit at this hospital. And his roommate is a binge eater. And what's really interesting about this is that most of the people at this eating disorder units appear to be binge eaters. The only people who are not are the main character and this girl Alice, who he's in love with, who's a ballerina. And so that was really interesting. Not sure how great his or nice his descriptions of people he saw as obese were. I'm not sure how many of them actually were obese because of his kind of warped view. This was weird, and everybody sucked. Everybody was awful except for Lard, because they give each other nicknames. They're Bones and Lard, and Lard was his roommate, and Lard was fine. He was fine. All he wanted to do was cook his little meals. He seemed like he was actually interested in getting better. He seemed like he was actually trying to do stuff, where Bones was just they're making me eat an apple today. I don't know if I can handle that. And it's like, I don't mean to malign people with eating disorders, but just there was nothing in the main character that made him likable at all, which makes me want to make fun of him. And so there was that. I mean, even like Alice, the anorexic girl, she was delusional beyond all belief, but you can kind of see how she got that way, and you could actually kind of see like, oh, she is very sick. Bones just came off as a dick. So there was that. I think I gave this one 2 out of 5 stars. It was not good. I read it in like one sitting. It's got huge font. It's not a very difficult book. But yeah, I did read this one. Then I read a book that I do not have with me, that is Preparing to Teach Writing by James Williams. This is a book from like the 90s, I want to say, about preparing to teach writing to high school students. And it was very interesting. I am an English teacher, and I think I did glean some good information from this. It was decent. Yeah, it had some decent points. I gave it 3 stars, I think. Then I read the most disturbing book I have ever read. That is Broken Flower by V.C. Andrews. This is actually one of the ghostwritten ones, I believe. But Broken Flower, it follows this 7-year-old girl, so you already know we're in for a ride here. And she starts going through precocious puberty. So she starts her period, she's got pubes, her boobs are growing. And if this isn't bad enough, her older brother fancies himself a scientist. And so he's like, well, we're going to figure this out. And he starts like measuring her boobs and like touching her nipples. And her parents are rightfully disgusted and disturbed by this. And they're like, no, 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 no. I don't know. It was just, I read the first 250 pages of this, like, because it was just like so fucking weird and disturbing. It was a lot. I didn't hate it. There are much worse V.C. Andrews books out there. I don't know if in terms of subject matter, but in terms of plot, there was a good evil governess. Very V.C. Andrews, like it's like the ghostwriters, like, what can we do to make this the most V.C. Andrews book we can? And we're like, evil matriarch, incest. Some real fucked up. And so that was that. I think I gave this 4 stars, not gonna lie. It was something. And then I read a book that was from a childhood series that is Sammy Keys and the Art of Deception by Wendelin Van Draanen. Sammy Keys was a series that I read as a kid. I loved Sammy Keys. She was like the coolest person. Basically, Sammy Keys is the 90s reaction to Nancy Drew. She wore high tops and she skateboarded. And she was super cool. She like tackled bad guys. She got jaywalked all the time. And I really enjoyed her. This one follows this art thief, and there's like art, pretty much. It's talking about art. It's talking about how art can affect people, and it also follows kind of main inciting incident of the book is that when there is a gallery show going on, somebody tries to steal some of the paintings, and it was really fun. This is not one that I read as a kid. And I think it does lack some of the charm of some of the earlier books. I think this is book 8 or so, but it is still very interesting. I do still enjoy it. I still like Sammy Keys as a character, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Currently, I am reading both still that Mordred's Call of Darkness book. I'm like 80% through. Finish it soon, hopefully. And I am reading Suffer the Children by John Saul. I'm only like 30 pages in. I know that this one goes batshit insane at some point. Because I read spoilers, because I could not wait, but I am reading this. So these are the books I read this past week. That is all for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.